ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is a review for Monday Night Raw. And this is for December 17th, 2018, right after TLC, which is a pretty good pay-per-view. And so Vince McMahon is supposed to make an appearance and change the course of Raw. Did he do that? Well, let's get into it. Vince McMahon hits music right off the bat. He comes out. He brings out Stephanie. They bring out Triple H. All three of them bring out Shane McMahon. So you have the four basic members of the McMahon family in the business. They're talking about how they're acknowledging that Raw hasn't been good. That the fan backlash has been pretty overwhelming and they can't ignore it. And they're admitting that they're just not delivering what the people want. Like, they either don't understand what the people want or they just haven't cared enough. And I haven't said that exactly, but paraphrasing, that's essentially what it comes down to. And they said they're going to change it up and they're going to bring new faces in and they're going to bring up people from NXT and you're going to have different matches and things like this. Here's my take on that. None of that matters if they don't change up the writing, which has been terrible. If they don't change up what they've been doing with certain characters and only utilizing really a few characters on a main roster full of like 40 or 50 people. It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. So, what they said was good, but if they don't follow through, it means nothing. So, let's see how they did with this show. The first major thing that happens, of course, Baron Corbin's going to come out and he's going to get shit on. You know that's going to happen. It goes without saying. Everybody's been talking about how bad Baron Corbin is. He's a charisma vacuum, in my words. He's just not good at anything. He's not good on the mic. He's got zero personality. He's not that great in the ring. What do you have? And he's been a focus of Raw for a long time. So, they set up a match with him and Kurt Angle. If he can beat Kurt Angle, he gets to keep the general manager position. And as Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, Triple H, and Stephanie are walking back, Stephanie says, "Oh, I forgot, your referee is Heath Slater." So, this match goes on for a little while. Next, Triple H comes out, says, "Oh, by the way, this is a handicap match." And then you have Apollo Crews, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, and Finn Balor all come out. And so they're all just taking turns beating up on Baron Corbin. And then Shane McMahon comes out and says, "Oh, by the way, this is now a no DQ match." So it's basically all the things that Baron Corbin has done to other wrestlers, they just did to Baron Corbin. So it's his nice send-off as general manager. And, the crowd popped a lot. And that's cool, but again, you have to have a follow-up. You have to have a follow-up. All of this is great, but when Vince McMahon came out, you have all the idiot fans who will enjoy anything, no matter what is given to them, no matter how bad it is, and they're popping for Vince McMahon, and as soon as he got in the ring, you heard the real wrestling fans booing the hell out of him. And of course, McMahon, he made a comment about the boos, so they all got louder. But that's exactly what it had to be. You had to acknowledge that your product sucks at this point. So, you then have Kurt Angle. He beats Baron Corbin in a squash match, honestly. You know what's going to happen. So that's fine, but are they going to follow through now? The first match of the night is Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler. It was a pretty good match. Two guys who both have issues with Drew McIntyre beating the hell out of each other for a little bit. And then Drew McIntyre comes out and he tries to get involved. Dolph Ziggler hits him, then Finn Balor hits him. Eventually, Drew McIntyre runs to the ring. He hits Finn Balor, which essentially should mean Dolph Ziggler wins by DQ. They never really said anything, but that's what it should be. And then Drew hit Dolph Ziggler, and he goes to smash it on both of them, hits both of them with a Claymore kick, and there you go. Unfortunately, I go back to what I said at the TLC review, which is you've now had this guy lose 2-3 weeks in a row. You've kind of killed any momentum that he has. You killed your best shot at having a great heel. And there you go. So it really doesn't matter what you do at this point with Drew McIntyre. They're, okay, we're going to listen to the fans. They like Drew. We're going to give Drew a spot. But it doesn't matter. It's dead. It's dead in the water. So this is where WWE has screwed things up to the point to where it's going to take a lot to fix. You can't have one match and expect everybody to buy that Drew's the killer again. Sorry, he's lost too many times. You get a Dean Ambrose in-ring promo after that. This is already at the 9 o'clock hour, the second hour of the program. And he does this promo. He calls out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins doesn't show up, so he does a Intercontinental Championship open challenge, to which Tyler Breeze answers the call, which I thought was an interesting choice. He killed it at NXT last week. So they're bringing him back up, having him have an actual spot on the show for once, which I did like because Tyler Breeze really is talented. Unfortunately, Dean Ambrose is not Ricochet, so the match is not going to be as good. But Dean Ambrose is good. It was a solid match for what it was. It looked good. Dean Ambrose eventually gets the win. Hits Dirty Deeds on Tyler, and then does a real quick promo. Seth Rollins' music hits. And Dean Ambrose came out with 4 guards. You know, the guys in the gas masks in the whole suit. And one of them turns out to be Seth Rollins. He lays a whooping down on Dean Ambrose. The other 3 guards come in. He takes care of them. And that was that spot. Backstage, Drake Maverick, he's talking for the AOP to Shane McMahon, talking about, you know, they're trying to get their rematch for the tag titles. And Shane O'Mac basically says, you should have never been champions in the first place. The titles were handed to you by Baron Corbin, but I'll give you a chance to earn your spot. And he says there's going to be a fatal 4-way later in the show. After that, you get a new Superstars montage, and it's basically the call-ups from NXT. They're going to be coming up pretty soon. And that was Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans, Heavy Machinery, Nikki Cross, and EC3. I don't know, man. I'm really excited about Nikki Cross. I think Lacey Evans is pretty good. Lars Sullivan, he's alright. Heavy Machinery, I'm actually not even that familiar with, to be very honest. And EC3, I think there are other names that could have been called up that are a lot better, that have been there longer. Just my thought. But, whatever. Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley, after that, they're doing an in-ring bit. They're in the ring kind of like Elias usually is, except Bobby Lashley's got the broken guitar. Lio Rush is talking about Bobby Lashley. No one wants to hear Bobby Lashley play. They want to see... or no one wants to see Elias play. They want to see Bobby Lashley do his poses. So, of course, he goes through all his stupid poses. Announcer says, ladies and gentlemen, Elias. And Elias is already in the ring and hits Bobby Lashley with a guitar. So that was that segment. You get a real quick promo saying Sami Zayn is going to return soon. Then you get the Fatal 4-Way with Akam and Razar, the AOP, Dash Wilder, Scott Dawson, the Revival. You have Lindsay Dorado and Kalisto with the Lucha House Party. And they make note that says no longer are they going to allow the Lucha House Party rules. Because, let's face it, they're stupid and they threw the rule book out the window and fans had a problem with it. Like, you can't suspend disbelief if there's no rules, if there's no guideline to the matches. It just becomes stupidity. And that's what it was. And so they're eliminating that, which makes sense. And then you have Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, the B team. The match had some good spots. I mean, it's cool. You have the technical side with Dash and Scott. You have the big guys, Akam and Razar, the powerhouses. You have the lucha style for Lince Dorado and Kalisto, who were in the match. And, well, the B team, they're there. I mean, what else can you say? And it turns out that Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival, pick up the win. And that's cool because they are a good team. I think they really are underused. And for a tag team division that don't really have too many tag teams, I think that this works. So that's where I'm at. Then you have Charlie interviewing Seth Rollins backstage. Baron Corbin, he's pissed off. He keeps poking Seth Rollins in the chest and blaming Seth Rollins for everything that just happened to him. Seth Rollins just punches him, lays him out, and there you go. Ronda Rousey does an in-ring promo after that. She's talking about why she did what she did, and she said that there's still a due to be paid for Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Again, this could be building towards Becky versus Ronda that never happened, or it could be building towards the Four Horsewomen. Four Horsewomen of Wrestling versus the Four Horsewomen of MMA. Don't know yet, but there is something later on to talk about with that. The promo itself, it was whatever. It was decent, not terrible, not great. And then she finally puts up a second open challenge for the night for the women's locker room. Anybody who wants to challenge Ronda Rousey. You cut away to the back where all of the women are fighting for their chance to go out there and face her. Stephanie McMahon just screams stop it, brings them all out, announces that there's going to be an 8-woman gauntlet match to decide the winner. And that winner is going to face Ronda Rousey next week for the title. So the gauntlet match literally takes up the rest of the show. And to be very honest, I honestly felt like they ended it on a weak note. And that's the last thing you want to do on a Monday Night Raw where you just promised major changes. I'm sorry, you want to end it on the strongest note possible. This was not it. So you start out with Alicia Fox versus Bayley. Bayley gets the win. I'm just going to run right through this. Then it's Bayley versus Dana. Bayley gets the win again. You get a Kevin Owens returns promo at commercial. They come back, and it's Bayley versus Mickie James. Mickie James gets the win. And honestly, that was a little bit sloppy on Mickie James' part. Bayley looked like she was struggling through a legitimate leg injury through this whole thing. Like she really aggravated something in her leg. And then Mickie James versus Ember Moon. Again, Mickie was a little uncoordinated at times. And I understand that stuff happens. Mickie James was really good, I think, back in the day. When she had her feuds with like Trish and Lita and, but it's you can tell it's a little bit harder for her nowadays. But yeah, Ember Moon comes in. Ember gets the win. Then it's Ember versus Natalya. Natalya gets the win. Natalya versus Ruby Riott. So they're rehashing this shit again. Still Natalya gets the win. And then it's Natalya versus Sasha Banks. I was really rooting for Sasha Banks. I love Natalya. And I think she's great. She is an absolutely amazing women's performer. I really do. But I think that Sasha Banks has been put to the wayside way too much. And just has not been utilized to the best of her ability at all. So, Natalya gets the win, and there you go. The best part of that whole gauntlet match with Sasha Banks kind of gives you a foreshadowing because she does the whole Four Horsewomen thing, and the Four Horsewomen hasn't been a thing for a while, so there you go. It looks like they are hinting towards something like that. Now, you end the show with Ronda Rousey. She comes out to the ring, and it's her and Natalya. They're facing off. They're hugging. They're, congratulating and walking up the ramp together. Ronda goes back through to Gorilla, and Natalya stays up there on the ramp for a minute. And they kind of go over next week's show, and that's where they leave off. And I didn't think it was a very strong ending. And like I said, on a show like this, after you've had weeks of horrible shows, it was a better show. It was definitely a better show. But was it a good show? I think it was decent. I don't think it was great. I feel like it's definitely a step in the right direction, but it's not a huge step in the right direction. It's not. the first half hour was all dealing with Baron Corbin. Like, he was already taken care of last night at TLC. I understand they were trying to get the crowd to pop by giving him this big send-off as a heel and destroying him, and everybody's happy about it. I don't care. I just don't... Keep him off the fucking TV. Same thing with Nia Jax, and thankfully she was not a part of any of this. So hopefully they're getting that message loud and clear, because you would think in this 8-woman gauntlet match, Nia Jax would be right there in the picture, but thankfully, no, she wasn't. The last hour almost was this 8-woman gauntlet match, though. So the first hour is Baron Corbin and Finn Balor versus Dolph Ziggler. The last hour is the gauntlet match. I mean, it doesn't really set a tone for this new Raw that they're talking about. And this is what I'm saying. If Vince McMahon himself is going to come here, admit that his company is not doing what they're supposed to with Raw, and he's got the entire family there, and they're talking about how they're going to change things up, fucking change things up. And I don't feel they did that. I really don't. I don't feel that they did enough in this episode to convince anybody that there's a new Raw headed towards us. So that's where I'm at. As far as the show itself, it was an improvement. There were definitely times that I enjoyed myself. I think the first 2 hours went a lot faster than I'm used to, which says that it was more entertaining. As far as score, though, like, if I'm rating this, I mean, half of the show was, here's what we're going to do in the future. Sami Zayn's coming back, Kevin Owens is coming back, Lars Sullivan's coming up, all these other people from NXT. That does nothing for right now. It really doesn't. And so, I'm going to give it a halfway point. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because there were some entertaining things, and I think the first couple hours definitely did go by a lot faster than I'm used to. That says I was a little bit more involved with it, which is very important. But I don't think it's going to get anything more than that. And maybe it should be a little bit lower, honestly. But I'll give it a 5 for the effort. But I'm not sold on the change yet. I can't hear words as a fan and be like, yay, we got a change going. No, show me. You've had weeks, if not months or years, worth of shitty Raws. Make something happen. Make me, as a fan, believe that you guys are changing this up and that you're going to do stuff that matters, storylines that matter. Build up characters that you want to see as a strong character. I don't know why WWE has such a hard time with that nowadays. But they really do. So that's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm trying not to be too hard on it, but at the same time, you're coming off a big losing streak here, and you really needed to make an impression, and I don't feel you did. So that's where I'm at. So if you enjoyed this, or if you agree with me, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation out.